So I've got one of the most obscure consoles I have ever had the privilege of playing, let alone physically hold. Um, yeah, it doesn't get much more obscure than this. So let's take a look and find out what it is. So that obscure console that I was talking about here, the one that I was actually fortunate enough to borrow from Tapper's Retro Games and Toys, so thank you very much, Mark, is the Magnavox Odyssey II. This thing is massive. This came out in 1978, 1 year after the Atari 2600. Like the Atari 2600, the RF cable is attached to the console. Like the television, the controllers are attached to the console. I'll show those in more detail in a second. So we got the power button there. Okay. You got the reset switch there. You've got the this is a horrible camera angle, I apologize. Let's see if I can do it this way. That might work better. Okay, so we have the number pad here. This is to choose the game on the cartridge, depending on what game or what cartridge you have inserted. You got the reset switch there to reset the console. You got the input buttons here. I have yet to figure out what, if any, games use those. Well, I'm sure they do, but none of the games I have here use those buttons or use those inputs. And interestingly enough, you have a full alphabet keyboard down here, complete with spacebar. Now, I bet you're wondering, why does a console need a full keyboard, especially this old? Well, I actually have a game here that uses it. So, before we dive into the games here, let's go ahead and just take a look at the controllers in a second here. So we got two controllers attached to the system. I got, I guess, player 1, player 2, or in most games it's red player and blue player. We got action button here, similar to the Atari 2600 controller joystick. Now, unlike this controller here, this actually has 8 different directions this joystick can go. That's pretty cool. Pretty neat. So the games that we have, the games that we have, take a look at here. We got baseball. See if we can, see if you can see that there. Sorry for the. There we go. Baseball. Got blockout. Actually, it also has on there breakdown. So blockout and breakdown on one cartridge. Football. And the last cartridge we've got is Speedway. It's got Speedway, Spin Out, and Crypto Logic. Now, if you notice here, the cartridges actually have this little handle on here. I think it's just to help pull the cartridge out. At least that's what Logic would tell you. Now, I have a copy of Berserk here on 2600 to show you the size difference between the cartridges. Also, the Odyssey cartridges, excuse me, have a metal piece right here that makes them a tad heavier than, say, an Atari 2600 cartridge. That was kind of interesting. So yeah, that's a cool, interesting thing to note there. So how do these games play? And what are they? And what is that keyboard for? Well, let's take a look at the games. So here's the first game on the Speedway cart, the Speedway. Use the up arrow to accelerate your little car faster through the traffic there, through the opponents, whatever you want to call them. The faster you go, the higher your score. Or, I'm sorry, the faster you go, the faster your score climbs. And you have to get the highest score within a 2-minute time limit. So we're at Spin Out, where you and your opponent have to go around the track 3 laps. And the first person to complete 3 laps gets a point. It's really kind of difficult to navigate the car with that joystick, but it's kind of fun. This is one of the games that is geared towards co-op play or competitive play with 2 players, as most of these carts are. Okay, so this is Crypto Logic. This is the game that uses the keyboard. So you're supposed to play with 2 players. The first player types in a word, and the computer scrambles it, and then you have to have the other player correctly spell the word that the first player typed in. Now, the computer keeps track of the number of wrong answers, and you'll see here, so I got 9 wrong answers. So the person who wins is the person that gets the lowest score between however many rounds you guys are going to play. Kind of a fun little game. Okay, so this is football. Again, designed to play with you and with some other person, or one other person. Except with this game, the computer actually controls the other players outside of the characters each player 1 and player 2 are controlling. So you can still technically lose the game, because you do have the computer playing with the other players on screen. This is actually one of the more fun games to play while testing these cartridges out. However, I'm not very good at this game, but that's okay. It was still fun. Here we have baseball. Pretty straightforward. You got one player that does the batter, and then you have the other player that does the pitcher. Now, unlike football, in this baseball game, all of the players are controlled by player 1 and player 2, so not not much really going on here. But I can see it being fun for a few minutes here if you have another player to play with. So here we have Blockout. This is a Arkanoid breakthrough clone for the Odyssey. The difference here with this game, as you can see, is you have little guys there at the top that the second player controls that can actually put the blocks that go out back, which is kind of neat. Each direction controls a different little guy there. I have yet to figure out how to put the block back once it goes out. I think I may have done it once by accident, but it's a nice twist on a very classic game. So here we have Breakdown. I believe it's what it's called. Yeah, Breakdown. And in this one, it's pretty similar to Blockout, except when the ball hits the bricks, it just doesn't stop. which is kind of neat. And you again use the little guys there to prevent the player with the ball and paddle from winning. So again, you can use the little men to put the blocks back, but again, I wasn't much good at it. but again, yeah, great twist on a classic game. I'm happy to see that. Alright, so this is Magnavox Odyssey II. Yeah, about the most obscure console I've ever gotten the privilege to review. So again, thank you very much to Mark, owner of Tappers Retro Games and Toys, for allowing me to review the system. And yeah, it's a great little system for what it is. It is very obscure. I think this was even though released a year after the Atari 2600, I think that the Atari 2600 just blew it out of the water because of the arcade ports it had, like Berserk, like Miss Pac-Man, like Centipede, Millipede, Asteroids, Defender, Yours Revenge. Great arcade ports. And it already had an installed base, so when Magnavox came out with this to compete with their Atari 2600, they really couldn't, and so the system fell into obscurity. It does have some fun games. I mean, the Speedway game was pretty fun. And Cryptologic is kind of fun if you got another player to play with. There are other games out there for the system I've heard that are much better than these you see here. But yeah, it's a fun, quirky, little obscure console that I'm very glad I was able to review and borrow from the shop. So if you like what you see, you like the games, you like the obscurity of the system, you like to have a console that has cartridges with handles, you know, you can go down to Tappers and buy the system. It is for sale. And the AC adapters right here, I did forget to put that in there, but yeah, so in closing, the video is not endorsed by any means by Tappers Retro Games and Toys. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to review. This thing's huge. I can't get over how big the system is. I thought the Atari 2600 was huge. This thing is huge. But yeah, great system. I'm glad I had the privilege to again to review it here for you guys. If you like what you see, please give a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Leave a comment down below about what you think of the console. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. Got some great content on the channel. Wow. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is great. Oh man. Okay, so again, in closing, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And until next time, take care and happy gaming.